everybody. Welcome to the second edition of Both These Guys podcast. My name's Richard.
I'm Mark.
And you're listening to the show. A mixed bag this week. We've got quite a different look at professional wrestling.
I think so, yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yes, some wackiness, some straight wrestling, some live wrestling, which we attended in Birmingham, which was different as well. It's a mixed bag, but a very busy bag.
Very busy. Not so much a pro wrestling podcast this week, really.
Yeah, no, I guess not. A pro wrestling and wackiness podcast.
Yeah.
We attended Lucha Forever in Birmingham, which was live on FlowSlam. We've been watching Best of the Super Juniors, and we are reviewing from WrestleMania weekend in March, Kaiju Big Battel Civil War. Which certainly was something that we watched, doesn't it?
We definitely watched it.
Yeah. More on that later. So, have you had a good wrestling week, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a busy wrestling week. Watched lots. It's amazing how you can watch so much and still be so behind on things as well.
Absolutely. Especially Best of the Super Juniors time when there is just so much stuff. And they're adding more shows as well.
Yeah, more shows, and it's going to be the same when it comes G1. I think it'd be a case of watching what you can, picking and choosing maybe.
Yeah, and that is coming, isn't it? June or July? G1?
July, I think it's July 17th or 18th, something like that.
Something like that. Coming up anyway. Which we will be looking at, won't we?
Yeah,
a little bit later down the line. We were going to be looking at Smash Wrestling, as we got last week in the Wrestle Crate, but due to a few downloading problems, we're not covering that this week.
Yeah, we wasn't able to actually get the download on that, so hopefully for next week.
Yes, but instead we went to go and see Lucha Forever last Thursday at the H Suite in Edgbaston in Birmingham. It was kind of a conference centre.
Seems to be a conference centre, opened by Prince Charles.
Opened by Prince Charles in the 1980s, in the middle of nowhere, despite their claims of being really easily accessible, in the middle of nowhere.
Nothing around there whatsoever.
Nope, couldn't even get a pint.
No, there's a reservoir beyond there.
There was a reservoir. I wouldn't drink that though. I've ran around that reservoir a few times. I'm not sure I'd go drinking that.
It was very, very hot last week. I think I might have needed some of that reservoir water.
Absolutely. We were queuing up in the blistering sunshine to get into that building. Maybe a couple of hundred people in there, would you say? 200-300?
Yeah, around that, I think. Yeah, that was a fair figure.
And it was an interesting show, wasn't it? I thought it was quite good fun.
Yeah, it was. There was started off with 2 or 3 comedy matches, but as it got on, there was some really good stuff on there. It was, like you say, it was fun. It was.
There was a little bit of shuffling going on in the card. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate were both supposed to be on it, but due to WWE commitments, they were unable to be on there, so they had to have a little bit of a rejig. The second time that I've been supposed to be seeing both of those guys, and they've been pulled from both of those shows. You have seen them though, haven't you?
Yes.
You've seen them live. And there was also an injury to Damien Dunn, so he was unable to perform as well, although he was on the show.
He was on the show, yeah. They also had Speedball Mike Bailey announced on Twitter, but there was no sign of him at all, so I'm not sure what happened with that one.
These things happen, don't they?
Yeah, the guy sitting next to us in the Speedball Mike Bailey t-shirt wasn't happy in the slightest.
No, and you will be able to see him as we were sat on the front row. As you look towards the ring, we're on the right-hand side, we're on the front row, and a very sad man in a red t-shirt sat next to us.
Yeah.
I imagine he had a nice time, though.
Probably. I didn't see him try to, burst into the ring or, beat up any of the refs, anything like that.
No, which would have been believable if he had tried to beat up the refs. I was in the bar before the show. One of the refs came in. Shane, is it, the little guy?
Something like that.
Something like Shane. The crowd don't like him at all. They really do not like that dude one bit. He was fine. He was very small.
He's very tiny. Little baby face.
Which I enjoyed because referees are supposed to be little. Makes the guys look bigger. I thought that was good.
Yeah, it's, Earl Hebner.
Absolutely.
Greatest referee of all time, probably. Little guy.
I think that's the only time that dude is ever going to get compared to Earl Hebner, but still.
I don't know, he might steal a load of merch.
He might do. He had the look of a thief about him. He didn't really. I didn't really
His
say
twin
that.
brother has.
We had a pre-show dark match. The Hunter brothers, who have been on a fair few shows, haven't they? They've done Progress and a few things like that.
Yeah, they're indie stalwarts, really, for UK scene.
Good name if you want to get signed as well, I imagine. Versus Bolarama, versus Jimmy Havoc and Clint Margera, and 2 other dudes whose names I can't remember.
Ashley Dunn and Kelly Six, I think it was.
Sure, absolutely. There was a Four Corners dark match. It was a weird one. It was just a comedy dark match, wasn't it, really? Jimmy Havoc and Clint Margera didn't want to get in the ring. Wandered off for a little bit, went and got a beer, came out, chilled out, just had a fun old time. We did have one cool spot, like the 8-way super kick spot, where they all super kicked one another. That was quite good.
Yeah, that was quite good, yeah.
Quite enjoyed that. Not really a fan of Bowlerama, whose gimmicks were bowling.
I think they really liked the Big Lebowski.
I think they did like the Big Lebowski. Did they win? I think they won.
I couldn't tell you.
That's how much attention we paid to the dark match. I think they won, but it's difficult to say, really.
Yeah.
But it was what it was, wasn't it? A dark match, comedy match.
I don't think there was any ranking points going on towards that one anyway. So
No, I don't think so. So the show began proper with Viper, with Damien Dunn defeating B. Priestley. Viper is a member of the Anti-Fun Police, which is basically right to censor, isn't it?
It is, including the theme tune as well.
Yes, very annoying music.
Yeah, very. It was the Kill Bill music, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. You when Viper came out, or Deputy Viper, I believe she was, came out. You mentioned that she was apparently being looked at by WWE.
Yeah, well, I read something earlier that day that she was being looked at for the Mae Young Classic.
It's a great name.
The 32 women tournament.
It's a great
which
name.
has been held over 2 days.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's been held over a weekend in July, I think. But yeah, she was on the World of Sport special, which I didn't see, but apparently she was on that.
I think it's still going on as we speak.
Yeah. Rest in peace, World of Sport. And because of the contract situation where they don't know if anything's happening again. From the report I read, how true it is, I don't know. WWE thought that she would be available.
I think pretty much every woman in the UK is probably being looked at for that tournament at the moment, aren't they, really?
Not just in the UK.
No, absolutely. But I imagine all of the women that we saw on this show, provided they're not signed somewhere else, will be looking to appear on that thing. That should be interesting. The Viper woman, I don't know. I'm not sure. She's quite a bigger girl, isn't she? She is.
She's a shouty Scottish person.
Yes. And B. Priestley, who was doing the Mortal Kombat gimmick.
Yeah. Viper, she was athletic for her size.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't see it.
No, it was what it was, wasn't it? Just an opening match. She actually won Viper with the Viper driver.
Did she?
Yeah, she certainly did. And it definitely was a match. The second match was Cara Noir defeating Al Ligero and Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian with an open challenge.
It was an open challenge, yes. Which he wasn't too happy that it had been spoiled on Twitter.
Yes, El Ligero spoiling it on Twitter, apparently.
Yes.
But then we didn't just get one El Ligero.
We didn't get one. We didn't get two.
Nope.
We didn't get three.
Nope.
How many El Ligeros did we get?
We had 4 El Ligeros.
There's only 4 El Ligeros.
Which was one of the chants. I enjoyed that enormously. It was great. The tattoos, in very inverted commas, on the El Ligeros were excellent.
They were, yeah. They were
drawn on in marker pen.
Yeah, it was. It was if they were children drawing them on in crayon themselves on their back and on their arm. It was very good. It was
good fun, wasn't it? It was a comedy opening early in the card match with quite a lot of diving around. Randy Orton wouldn't have liked it one bit.
He wouldn't have liked it at all. It would have been a bit too wacky for him.
I do like El Ligero though. He's good fun.
Oh, he's very good. Yeah, he's very good. Cara Noir, who I'd not seen before, does some kind of Black Swan gimmick.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, a very cool entrance. The mask was great with the mirrors and stuff. It was a very cool entrance. It seemed like a grander entrance than for a little indie in England.
Yeah, you can see that with maybe with a big production on NXT kind of thing. You know,
absolutely.
The way that was done. Yeah, it was quite interesting. Reminded me of Fantasio.
Yeah, which again, I'm not sure that's a great comparison for him, but yeah, I can see what you mean. During the match, there was a production guy who we could see from where we were sat, a guy in a white t-shirt and a baseball cap, who was going bananas when the extra El Ligeros were coming out. He looked like he was having such a good time on that show.
I don't ever remember seeing anyone so happy in my life as he was that night. I don't know.
No, he was wearing a bum bag as well, which I enjoyed enormously. They're bringing him back, or a fanny pack to our American cousins. bringing it back. I was pleased about that. The Cara Noir dude got the win with some kind of package pile driver.
You did, yeah. It was that was where the event started to really kick on and have some good stuff on it.
Yeah,
it was a comedy match, but it was done well.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of comedy based around the fact that there were 4 El Ligueros doing sort of matching dives and all the rest of it. It was good. That guy was the referee. Yeah, whoever that guy is.
Don't know, but lots of people there seem to know who that guy was.
I presume he's a wrestler. The ring announcer said there was some kind of Lucha Loco thing and anyone could turn up in any role on this show, and that guy was the ref, so yeah, he was fine. He was a ref.
Yeah.
You're not impressed?
He was fine. He was a ref.
He was.
He did his job.
He did. So then after that we had Toni Storm and Ginny. Toni Storm, the new Progress Women's Champion. Spoiler alert, everyone.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Always the best kind of spoiler alert.
Okay, spoiler alert. Toni Storm is the new Progress Women's Champion.
Do you want to give out the Super Strong 16 when we're here as well?
She's really good. I like Toni Storm.
She's great.
And Ginny was her opponent, who was doing a sort of better than everybody else gimmick. She's really, really good. I like Ginny a lot. The characterisation was excellent. The only problem I've got, same with Carmella in WWE, I just don't buy her size. She's too small. Like, physically...
She's very skinny.
Very skinny, that's what I'm driving towards. She's not short, but she's very, very skinny.
Yeah.
And while she's good and she gets great reactions from the crowd and stuff, she just looks really, really thin. Toni Storm had some sort of believable bulk to her.
Yeah.
But whilst not bulk in the fat sense, but there was muscle definition there, and she looked like she could beat people up.
Yes, absolutely. I saw her at the intermission near the bar as well. She's tiny.
Is she really?
Really, really tiny.
Like Alexa Bliss type short.
Even, possibly even shorter.
Crikey. Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair enough.
Or maybe it was a little girl out there, I'm not sure.
It could have been.
I think it was her.
She's very good, though. Ginny was good. She got Ginny shops at Primark chants from the crowd, which was very
funny.
Very nice. I enjoyed that match. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, definitely. Toni Storm's a star.
So we had a number 1 contender match as well, featuring Mark Haskins, Bubblegum, Dan Maloney, and Chris Ridgway. Dan! From the NXT UK special, and also he was in the tournament as well, wasn't he? The UK tournament itself.
He was in the UK tournament, yeah, the one in Blackpool, yeah.
Another local lad from Birmingham.
20 years old.
Yeah, for 20 years old, he's good. I like Dan Maloney.
He is, yeah. Apparently he's been wrestling since he was 14.
Has he really?
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Certainly is.
The crowd very, very into Dan with the Dan chants. Mark Haskins looked great, considering he was basically retired last year.
Yeah.
He was very, very good. Bubblegum is strange. It's got a very weird look, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
Shaved head, quite muscular, but like bubblegum, literally, pink tights and boots and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. Good though.
Yeah, he's been around a while, Bubblegum, so I think he's from a previous UK indie age, really. Before the strong style kind of kicked in and the scene really kind of took off.
Still wears kick pads though. Can people wear boots? I'd really like some more wrestling boots. It makes me sound cantankerous and old.
It does.
But I'd like some wrestling boots and some knee pads, please. Just once every now and again. I'm not adverse to kick pads. I might podcast in them next week.
Yeah.
I probably won't, but I might do. Mark Haskins was great. He was kind of the sort of pivot of the whole thing, wasn't he, really? He bound everything together.
Yeah.
Some cool dive spots and all the rest of it. As with lots of other things on this show, a lot of chopping.
Lots of chopping, and this was just where it really got going.
Mm-hmm.
More on that afterwards, though.
Yes, absolutely. There was another spot as well with all 4 guys sitting on chairs in the ring, hitting each other, chopping each other, forearming each other. What did you make of that?
It's just
too wacky for my liking. I could do without that myself.
Yeah, I don't see the point of it. It's like, well, okay, I'm harder than you. I can hit you harder than anyone, but I need to sit down while I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's a weird combo.
It's kind of reverse logic. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it kind of comes across as comedy as well, doesn't it? Which I don't think it needed when it's a number one contenders match for the Lucha Forever Championship.
Yeah.
I don't think you need comedy.
No, if you're going to bring a chair in the ring, use it and hit somebody.
Yeah,
rather than sit on it.
Although I'm not sure those chairs would have been great for hitting because they weren't the foldy wrestling chairs, were they? They were like conference centre chairs.
I think that'd have been brilliant for hitting.
Yeah, I suppose in that sense.
If you want to hurt someone, those are the kind of chairs you want to use.
I guess.
Break a leg off.
Oh, yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I could have just done with that. It just came across as a bit too comedy based for my liking.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. Mark Haskins got the win. Haskins and Travis Banks, if that's the main event of the next show, could be very interesting, provided he wins the belt still, because there is a match coming up with him later.
That's it, yeah.
See, no spoilers there. See what he did there? Very good, wasn't it? And that was the end of the first half of the show. And the Flow Slam people went to just an intermission card, I think. There was nothing happening for 15 minutes on Flow Slam. Whereas in the building, we got Rockstar Spud versus Trent Seven.
Yes.
Two local dudes, Rockstar Spud from Birmingham, Trent Seven from Wolverhampton. Or Mustache Mountain.
Yeah.
TNA versus WWE. Lots of comedy in the early going.
But comedy done very well.
Yes.
There is a place in wrestling for comedy, but it has to be done right.
And lots of the comedy was WWE and TNA based, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Trent Seven came out in his NXT tap out jacket thing, and there was quite a lot of back and forth with the crowd about that. We got a double J strut from Rockstar Spud, which I was very happy about.
I said he was going to be there.
You did say he was going to be there. Sadly, he wasn't. We did get a very good strut, though.
Yes.
Spud can do a hell of a strut.
Yeah. And we had the Triple H entrance as well from Trent.
That was after the match, though.
Was it after the
match?
That
was after the match.
Was it? Okay.
Go to at both these guys for a video of that, by the way. I recorded it. And it was the My Time theme. It wasn't the game theme.
Yeah.
For my money, best wrestling theme of the 90s. I loved that theme.
I don't know. Doinks was pretty fucking awesome.
Doinks was great, as was Mankind's, the evil Mankind one.
Yeah.
But of the Attitude Era type neck of the woods, that was my favourite entrance theme. Very, very good. Just an aside. Yeah, so lots of comedy. Lots of comedy with the ref as well.
Yes.
Who joined in, locked up with Spud, was dishing out some chops every now and again. Like you said, there's place for comedy in wrestling. And fully a good 5 minutes of the opening of this match was comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which, it's a dark match. Do as little as you can to get as much reaction as you can. Good for those guys, because the crowd was into it and they didn't have to do anything.
That's it. Once you get to the level where you are as over with the fan base as those guys, well, Trent especially is, and you can get away with stuff like that.
Yeah, and the crowd completely bought into it as well.
Yeah.
But the second half of the match, it did start to pick up a little bit. They did chop the
second half of the match was a wrestling match.
Yeah, it actually was a wrestling match. They chopped the shit out of each other, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was quite aggressive stuff. Trent somehow got busted open.
Yeah, not sure exactly how.
There was a couple of dives and the Spud dove out the ring a couple of times, whether he got caught on something there, but not a huge amount. It wasn't a gusher or anything, but he definitely busted him open a little bit. Trent, I like Trent Seven. I do think he needs to, I don't know, maybe lose a couple of pounds, perhaps, considering where he's heading in WWE.
Well, he's got himself a deal, like
whatever that deal is. I'm not sure what the nature of those deals are, but yeah, he does have a deal. But I don't know. I just think Vince is going to take one look at him if Vince is aware that this whole thing exists, and think, too fat.
Quite possible. Well, he'll think that, yes, absolutely. But then again, he probably thinks that about Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil.
There is that.
So, no doubt he will, but they need wrestlers.
They do need wrestlers.
Shows they've got how many hours they produce per week. They need guys.
They do need guys, and Trent Seven,
good guys.
And Trent Seven definitely falls into that category, doesn't
Absolutely.
he? He's very, very good. I fell in love with him a little bit more on this show because, again, as I mentioned, it's a dark show, a dark match. Sorry, it's not going out to anyone apart from the 200 or 300 people in the building. And he taped up his elbow, the elbow that he injured in the UK special. I loved that because it's not for anybody. He doesn't need to do that,
no. But
yet he did. I thought that was great. And Trent Seven won with the 7-star lariat. Although both men played completely dead at the end, didn't they? For like a 5 minute. 10-minute at most comedy match.
Yeah.
They played completely dead by the finish.
Then they had a nice touching moment in the ring afterwards.
They did. Rockstar Spud put Trent over. Again, both local guys in front of what was predominantly a local crowd, I think. Yeah, he put him over, talked about how he wouldn't be where he was today without Trent Seven. They had a nice little hug. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a little girl in the crowd. Back to the hard camera.
Front row.
We could see her front row. She did not want to be in this building, did she? She didn't want to be at this show.
Not at all.
She was with her mum. She was in such a mood. But I think she cracked a smile a couple of times during that match.
There was the one bit where that was the match where Trent got her to chop Spud, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it was. Yes, Trent took Spud down the aisle, got a few people to chop him, and one of them was this little girl who nearly got dived on 2 or 3 times. So I think people were trying to make it up to her, but she looked like she was so miserable.
She did. Yeah.
I felt a little bit sorry for her.
Well, she obviously got dragged there against her will by her mum, she was really enjoying it.
Yeah, she was having a hell of a time.
But she couldn't have give a toss about the whole thing, really, could she?
Which is a shame, really, because it was a good show.
Yeah.
You should cheer up, is what I'm saying, this little girl. Pull yourself together, love.
Yeah, you miserable care.
The second half of the show began with Amari defeating David Starr. David Starr originally going to face Travis Banks before the rejig. But Amari stepped in, another local dude.
Yes.
Really good size. I really like the look of Amari.
Yeah, he was really good. I've seen him once before live, and he really impressed me. Like you say, good size. He's a typical old school babyface, and he works like a typical old school babyface.
Yeah, and the crowd got massively into him very quickly, didn't they?
Whether that would work elsewhere, like you say, he's a local lad. So whether that ought to translate elsewhere in the country or other regions, but yeah, people in the Midlands love him.
And credit to David Starr as well, who I think he's been on ROH at least once. I think he was in the Top Prospects tournament on ROH. He's been around a little bit.
Yeah, CZW guys, isn't it?
And he really put Amari over at times. He did a good job of gathering heat with his pre-match promo as well. I thought it was really good. Although he did nearly kill Amari towards the end with a brainbuster onto the knee, and then just dropped him on his head. Completely dropped him on his head.
Yeah.
People screamed in the crowd at that one, including me. That was horrifying.
Yeah. Little girl just looked on nonplussed.
Yeah, just looked at her fingernails, looked at her phone, couldn't have cared less. But no, it was good. That was good. I enjoyed that. Amari, it could be a big deal, possibly.
Possibly. You can see him being one of the guys who they bring on the UK show, maybe on the network, and work in those kind of matches and see what you can make of that.
Absolutely. Then we had Kaylee Ray versus Alex Windsor. Again, Alex Windsor, another local person, another local girl, although she was billed as being from Norwich.
Yeah.
Crowd very, very into Kaylee Ray. These two beat the crap out of each other.
They absolutely did.
It was really good, wasn't it? I really enjoyed this match. Yeah. We've seen Alex Windsor a couple of times now. I think we saw her at Progress last year in Birmingham.
Earlier on this year.
Yeah. It was really good. They beat the crap out of each other. And Kaylee Ray got the win. Anything else?
Nothing more to add to that.
Nope. It was good fun. I would go out my way to watch this if I had Flow Slam.
Yes.
Which took us to the Lucha Forever Championship match. Travis Banks, formerly of the South Pacific Power Trip, versus Matt Riddle, King of Bros himself, for the title in the semi-main, which I didn't like.
But understandable, given what happened in the main.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Spoiler alert. But
not really.
But I would just like my promotion's title to be in the main event myself.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I would think so too.
Irrespective of that, this was an excellent match.
It was very, very good match.
Another very hard-hitting match, though.
Yeah, two guys that are very good having a good wrestling match.
Yeah,
none of the comedy. Just out and out.
Yeah. Forearming each other and slapping the shit out of one another.
Yeah, this is the one where it was slap, slap, slap.
Matt Riddle's chest looked terrible by the end.
Yeah. As we was walking out at the end, Travis was but near the merch, and he didn't have a top on, and he was beat red. Honestly.
It's not going to be comfortable, is it, that? I don't think.
What do you make of matches where you've just got two guys standing there just egging each other on to slap them and to chop them?
That's what you're going to get now, isn't it, in British wrestling? You are going to get a lot of that. in British wrestling that's not the WWE British wrestling, because we didn't get that so much in Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate at the UK special. But you're going to get that with the strong style now. It's very in vogue, isn't it? The slapping and the forearms and all the rest of it. So you kind of have to make your peace with it. It's not terribly believable, is it? If you were in a fight, you wouldn't stand there and tell someone to punch you or hit you.
I just don't see. I don't see the point of it. I don't see the reasoning of it. It just completely lost its effect. You see it so much now.
Does this go back to the Randy Orton thing, though? The fact that this is now the formula, this is what you have to do in indie stuff. You have to do the forearm spots and the slapping spots and all the rest of it.
We mentioned it last week. That what Randy said was grounded in truth. That it's absolutely, there is a form. Every type of wrestling, there's a formula. You just don't want it followed on every show by every single match. That's the thing. And we've had how many matches? This is the 6th, 7th match. Probably 3 or 4 of them already. You've had spots where it's just like hit me, and then the other person, now you hit me, and it just loses it. It
loses the believability a little bit, doesn't it? It takes you out of the match slightly.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's good for it's a nice soundbite hearing all those slaps, because they really hurt.
Well, there's a way to do them that really hurts, isn't there? And there's a way to do them that doesn't. But the chops in that match, the Travis Banks and Matt Riddle match, they must have hurt.
The ones that really sound, the really loud slaps, they're really sharp. And okay, they'll make your chest red, and you might be sore the next day, but you'll get over it. The ones that just sound like a thump and you hear a thud, and that don't, those ones, it sounds like you're beating up their lungs. It's horrible.
I don't think I'd like my lungs to be beaten up.
Oh no,
it's a no from me. And the annoying thing is, especially with those two guys, is that everything else that they do is so great. It's so crisp. There was some excellent suplexes. It was a really fun match.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If it wasn't for the fact that we'd seen that same spot 3 or 4 times already on the same night within 2 hours, it just loses it a little bit.
Yeah, it does a little bit, especially when, like I said, the guys are so capable of doing a lot. I mean, Matt Riddle, he's got the MMA background, so the chain wrestling is very good. Travis Banks, his stuff is excellent. We've seen him a few times now. He's very, very cool. Travis Banks retained with the lion clutch. I think, didn't Travis Banks kicked out of the road to sleep as well?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was a Matt Riddle match, which are always going to be great, aren't they?
Yeah.
He's so talented. With the bloke his size and the look that he's got, it's incredible that he's not been taken by WWE or New Japan. They would have a field day with him. I mean, I know there's all the other stuff that people say about Matt Riddle, which is why he's not gone there.
Which he's open about. He's completely open about. Yeah, he's had a couple of suspensions from UFC, and those are the kind of things that are going to stop him from being signed by certain companies.
Which is a shame, because you think of the kind of matches he could put on with people. I mean, I'm sure he's doing perfectly fine, doing what he's doing in the Indies. He's very active over here, isn't he? He's very active in the US.
But he's still very new to wrestling. He's only been wrestling like 18 months, less than a couple of years.
And he's still very young as well, isn't he? So there's plenty of time. You'd just like to see him do his stuff on the biggest stage possible, because he's great.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the main event match, CCK versus Scarlett and Graves for the CZW Championships.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought this was great. Absolutely loved it, Yeah, CCK I think are fantastic anyway.
This was my first time seeing CCK.
Yeah, they're really good heel team. Chris Brooks, I think. I still think he needs to fill out. He's very skinny. He's a tall lad who's skinny.
He's got the kind of Angelico look, hasn't he? Just a very, very thin dude.
Yeah, he has. But he's a really good heel. And as a team, I think him and Lycos are great.
The crowd very, very invested in this match. They were into everything, weren't they? Yeah, it was good. I don't know either sets of these guys, so it was difficult for me to get invested massively in the early going, but it was a lot of fun. CCK winning the belts. First time a UK team's ever won the CZW belts.
Yeah.
Quite a noteworthy way of ending the show.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose, but makes it seem like a bigger deal.
Yeah, and going back to what we were talking about earlier, I can understand why this main evented the show. I do get that, because the titles are changing hands. I just preferred the Lucha title to go on last.
100% agreement. It is your main title. Yeah, that should be the main event of your show.
Scarlett and Graves, I was very impressed with. I thought they were really smooth, really good.
Really good, yeah. I've not seen them before,
No.
so I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, really, really good. Not what you'd typically think of a CZW kind of team either.
No, definitely. There was no shenanigans, was there? There was no plunder or anything. It was just good wrestling. Some terrible tattoos on show though. Awful tattoos on Scarlett and Graves.
Yeah.
Not a fan of those one bit. Overall thoughts then on the show. Would you go and see Lucha Forever again?
Yeah, definitely. I think they do running shows every couple of weeks. There's one in Southampton they've got coming up? Or
yes, they've got
Southampton just gone.
it was Southampton just gone, but they have got another show in there coming up.
Yeah.
Marty Skull and Will Ospreay have both been announced for that show.
I think they've just announced the next Birmingham one as well, which is middle of July, which is going to be in Birmingham City Centre this time. So
which will be helpful.
Be nice and easy to get to this time.
Knowing what we know about them, though, I would take it with a pinch of salt, the people that they announce for these shows, because things seem to change quite a lot. I know they had a show cancelled in Southampton as well.
Yeah, they had to cancel the London show as well.
London show.
Yeah. Well, I think that was kind of beyond their control. I think the venue screwed them over on that one, from what I heard.
It was good fun, though.
It was. I mean, the tickets were £15. Well worth that. There were 3 really, really good matches, and then 2 or 3 which are also like really worth watching. Definitely worth the money. Good night out.
Absolutely. So if you got Flow Slam, I would check that out. It's a good match, a good show. Sorry, it was good fun.
Yeah, I think so.
Bit of a change of pace. We also have been keeping up as best as possible with the best of the Super Juniors. I don't know about you, I'm finding it really difficult to stay on top of it.
Well, considering we recorded our last show this time last week.
Last Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think that was day 3. I think we'd both seen all of day 2. The most recent show was day 11.
Yes.
It's difficult to keep up with.
It is difficult to keep up with.
There's some really good stuff on there, but... Yeah, it gets to the stage where you have to kind of pick and choose which matches that you... Well,
yes,
you don't have to, but...
Yeah, unless you're Dave Meltzer, you have to pick and choose, don't you, really?
You really do, yeah. And there's been some very good stuff on there.
There has, and the problem with this many shows in such a short period of time is, although there is lots of really good stuff, I think a lot of it will probably get lost a little bit.
I think so, yeah, and it all tends, especially if you catch up 2 or 3 days in a row, which I have done over this weekend, it all kind of blends in as well, and it's like, oh, which day are we on now?
Yes.
Where does that leave for the stand-ins? Because it's not always... on New Japan, they're not showing the updated stand-ins until the very end of the show. So if you're watching anything out of order as well, it can get a little bit confusing.
It certainly can. Yeah, it's tricky because you're going to have... You're going to have an awful lot of matches in a very short period of time doing what they're doing. I know they're mixing some of the tag matches as well.
Yeah.
But because of the style of the junior heavyweights in New Japan, you are going to get some quite similar matches, especially when you got dudes like Tai Chi in there.
Yes.
Who is terrible. I know. I slagged him off last week. He's terrible.
His match with Dragon Lee was very good.
That's
Dragon Lee's very good.
Yeah, I was going to say Dragon Lee is pretty decent, isn't it?
But apart from that, I like Tai Chi's entrance. It's got a good entrance.
He has got a good entrance. It doesn't help. I'm getting so sick and tired of the Suzuki Gun bullshit.
It's the same. Every match is the same.
It's again. It drags down the overall experience, doesn't it?
Yes.
You don't expect to see that stuff in New Japan. I don't want to see it. I'm so sick of Suzuki Gun. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being precious about it, but I just cannot stand it.
No, I completely agree. We got the finals this weekend, and then a little bit of a breather till G1.
Then it all begins again. It's a good problem to have, though, isn't it? There's so much good stuff out there to watch, and you can't keep track of it all. I'd rather have that than...
Well, I think for me anyway, what I've been doing, and I think it's probably what most people end up doing, is just the guys that you like watching, just seek out their matches and watch them.
Yeah.
And then if you hear about something that's really good from somebody else, if I hear that maybe there's a really good Tiger Mask 4 match, then maybe. But otherwise, I'm not going to watch it. because there's too many other guys that I like on the show that I'm going to watch theirs and
understandably so.
Have preference for them.
Like Liger, for example. I'm still heartbroken about the Liger situation. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Although he'd better win at least one match. He's got
one left, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got one left. He's
Is it Tai Chi's last match?
I think it might be.
He's 0-6.
0-6. It's. I don't understand it. But I'd have had him win the whole thing. So what do I know? Taichi also beat Will Ospreay.
Yes, he did.
On one of the sort of house show matches with just one hard camera, which made it quite difficult to watch. That was quite tricky.
Yeah, I think it's the angle of the cameras which is the hardest, because it's bang on level with the top rope.
Yes.
So it's as if when you're looking at it, you can only see one top rope because it's that level. It obscures the second one. I quite like those shows, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I think also it's because there's no commentary on there.
Yes.
And not that I dislike Japanese commentary, but I sometimes I can find commentary quite distracting, and I'd rather just have the crowd noise.
That's fair enough. I really like the Japanese commentary. No idea what anyone's saying, obviously, but they sound excited and they sound into it, and they get me into it by being excited. I don't know. It's personal preferences, isn't it? But I quite enjoy it. Taguchi and Kushida was excellent.
That was a very good match. It was one of the longer matches of the tournament so far. Finishing stretch was excellent when they was reversing the submissions into pinfalls, into other submissions. That was great. Stealing
each other's moves, that kind of thing. It was very good fun. Kushida picked up the win there. I've seen Kushida a few times. Wasn't blown away with him on the ROH show. He was just kind of a dude there on that one. But in this setting, when the crowd is heavily into him, cool.
He's definitely better on the New Japan shows, on the big shows. Definitely, he's a very talented lad. Some of the matches he had with Kyle O'Reilly last year were fabulous.
He's a very talented bloke, and obviously he's going to be around on ROH for quite a bit because he's the television champion at the moment.
Yes, he is.
Kushida, good. Breaking news there. There was a match on yesterday's show, on Monday's show, Marty Skull, as they called him, on New Japan World. Kenny Omega and Bad Luck Fale versus Jado, Will Ospreay and Okada. That was really, really good. It was just a nothing throwaway tag match, but as nothing can throw away as it can be with the world champion. Really, really good stuff.
Was Marty involved much in it? I've not seen that one.
He actually got the win. He tapped out Jado for the finish. They kept Kenny Omega and Okada apart for the most part, although they did have a little bit of a spell together towards the end of the match. Again, Okada just has that aura, like we spoke about last week with Asuka, through his entrance, through everything about him, just screams complete badass.
Yeah.
And it seems daft though in the setting that it's in such a small building, and then you've got the world champion coming out in like his finery, looking like $1 million.
Yes.
In front of not very many people. It's just strange seeing him on the small shows. In the Tokyo Dome, it looks cool and you can understand it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems out of context in these smaller shows. But it's a really good match. It was good fun. Kenny Omega's hair really is something else. I don't know if he's had hair extensions or if he's grown his like giant 80s salt and pepper mullet thing out. It is incredible. I implore everyone, sign up for New Japan World, find this match for Kenny Omega's hair. And also his rockers gear. He's got like fringed wrestling tights on and the Marty Scurll Villain Club t-shirt, which not convinced about.
Okay.
He's got some good t-shirts, Marty Scurll, but I don't like that one.
Yeah.
I like the King of the Chicken Wing t-shirt based on the old King of the Ring logo. Very, very good.
Well, if there's ever a time to get more shirts out, it's now for Marty.
Yes, absolutely. He's making a big splash, isn't he, at the moment, which is very cool. So in Block A, we have Ospreay, Dragon Lee, Ricochet, Taichi and Takahashi, all with 8 points.
Yep.
Everyone in Block B has 6 points, so it's all to play for. It's going to be an interesting last week of the series. Yeah,
there's 2 shows left, aren't there, before the finals? So we've got it's tomorrow and Thursday, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Live 10:30 UK time on New Japan World. Who do you think, sticking your neck out then, who's going to win?
The whole thing?
Yep.
Ospreay.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think they can give him 2 times.
I fancy Ricochet.
Do you? I think it's either going to be Ospreay or Kushida. And I think that'll be the final. And I think that I'll stick my neck out at Ospreay.
Okay, well, it will be interesting to see if he does repeat. Has anyone repeated? I'm sure somebody must have repeated.
I don't know if anyone's won 2 in a row. Not many have ever won 2.
Well, it'd be a big old
Liger and someone else. Liger and one other guy, I can't remember who it was, have won 3. Devitt won 2, but no, I don't think anyone's done back to back. If they have, not for a long time.
Well, then it would be quite newsworthy if he did. But no, a good week of New Japan stuff this
Who are
week.
you picking for the final? Ricochet and...
I don't know. I really don't know. It's so difficult to pick, isn't it? With Block B, with everybody on 6 points, it could go in any direction.
I think the way Kushida started with a couple of losses and has brought it back. I think he's
Ricochet and
got the momentum behind him.
Those two in a final would be something pretty special.
Yeah.
Anybody really.
That could be Taichi.
By Taichi. If he brings back Miho Abe, I'll be quite happy with that. She's not bad. So that was good. And that's very, very different from what we're about to talk about now.
So, you really wanted to review this?
Yes, I did. We both of us quite like Godzilla movies, things like that, don't we?
Yes.
And
we both really like the game Rampage.
Absolutely. And I got excited by the idea of watching some Kaiju Big Battle. I was aware of it, but I'd never actually seen any of it.
I'd seen little sections of matches, but not the whole thing.
It's to call it wrestling, I think, is being generous. It's not really wrestling, is it? I don't know. Is it performance art? Is it a college project? I don't know quite what it is.
Is it a huge rip?
Is it a huge rip? Which it could be all 3 of the above. If you haven't seen Kaiju Big Battle, it's dudes dressed as monsters fighting in a ring surrounded by small buildings.
Yeah. Boxes with holes cut out to look like buildings. And using those buildings to bash each other up.
Yeah. Do you know the story behind the Kaiju Big Battle and what the actual plot is?
There's a story.
There is a running plot.
I don't know. This is one of the things that worried me because the one that we watched was the most recent one, and I was worried about us, not, knowing all the previous storylines, and I'd be a little bit lost of what's going on. So no, please fill me in.
Basically, there is a group of kaiju, who are these monsters, like interdimensional monsters, who are set on destroying the world. But there's a regulatory commission that keep an eye on their activities, who have commissioned fights between these kaiju and a series of defenders who are here to protect the Earth, so that the kaiju can get their rage and anger out in a way that doesn't destroy everything. And for some reason they agree to these fights, which I don't really understand, against the sort of defender, hero, babyface characters. Yeah, so that's the plot. There's something about somebody called Dr. Cube as well. I don't really understand where he fits into it, although he does fit into it.
Although he did one of the best promos I've seen in a long time.
Dr.
Possibly
Cube.
the best line in a promo I've heard in a long time.
I think you'll have got the same best line as me, but we'll get to that shortly. This is from WrestleMania weekend, as we said, from March, live on WWN. There's about 100 people around the ring, maybe?
Possibly. And it was stadium seating, and they was attempting to get everyone to come forward and just stand up because it was not allocated seating. Lots of people wasn't having it. They was quite happy to sit back and watch from afar. Can't say I blame them.
No, me neither. The show opens with a dude with an axe running to the ring, shouting. I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about, but he was very excited.
Yeah, not the best sound on the microphone with him, really.
No. And he was interrupted by the Kaiju Southern Division, a guy called Bill McGurk, who was in the crowd ringing a bell, and apparently there's a civil war on. He's a very sweaty man.
He is, yeah.
I don't know if that's actual sweat or if that's work sweat, though, but he was a very sweaty dude. The first thing you notice is there's a model of Epcot in the ring. That was the first thing I noticed, anyway. Yeah. And our opening match was the finals of the Cosmic Monster Challenge, featuring Unicorn Party versus Number 13.
Yeah, but the stipulation for this: participants must have been to space once upon a time.
It's fair enough. Well, I'm guessing, given that it's Kaiju Big Battle, haven't they all been to space at some point?
Maybe every single thing was for the Cosmic Monster Challenge. Then.
Maybe it was. There was a belt, such as it was. It wasn't the best belt in the world, but it was a belt.
It wasn't the worst belt.
No.
Actually, it might have been the worst belt.
There was lasers everywhere for Unicorn Party's entrance, and he had a misfiring cannon A penis cannon of some description?
Yeah, it was like it was going to be some kind of glitter gun or something.
Yeah.
I think it was very sparkly, and and at first I thought it was just like, oh, he's a stupid unicorn who can't get his gun to work. No, just the gun wasn't working.
The gun was crap. And number 13 is a weird sort of fat goat dude.
Is it? Yes, yes. Number 13 equals goat boy. I put on my notes, which I think he might be the same goat boy that Bill Hicks used to talk about quite a lot. I'm not sure.
The ring announcers, the dude with the axe and the southern guy, were both also commentators as well, who pointed out, I think it was the dude with the axe, pointed out everybody hates him at number 13, which I enjoyed. And then the ref burst out of the Epcot in the middle of the ring.
Gobbledygook-esque.
Yes. Whilst the guys were in the ring, while the Kaiju were in the ring, music continued to play like New Jack was attacking, which I thought was quite good. The dudes were dancing at the beginning and sort of doing workout spots, which I didn't really understand, which is a theme that I'll come back to on this because I didn't really understand a huge amount of this show. The number 13 punched the unicorn in his horn, which I thought was not the nicest.
Not uncalled for, really.
Not really. And then he destroyed one of the buildings, which was apparently a bank. The Unicorn Party, he's a gimmick apparently, apart from being a space unicorn or something. Also, he's stealing WWE moves.
They boasted in this one.
Yes, they did actually. Yeah, we had a couple of 5-knuckle shuffles. We had
People's Elbow.
People's elbows. We had quite a lot of things going on in this match. It was... we also had an F5 as well. Sorry, tell a lie. The Unicorn horned the goat dude in the dick once as well, which I thought was different, and came off the top for the win. So that was a short one up for the good guys, I think.
Yeah.
As a Unicorn Party won that one. And then Dr. Cube hit the ring.
Yes.
3 Dr. Cubes, in fact.
3 Dr. Cube, or Dr. Cube and 2 of his henchmen, whoever that was.
Also Dr. Cubes, I think.
Oh, well, they looked very similar.
Yes. They attacked the ref and then cut a promo, slagging off Orlando, slagging off Pitbull, which made me laugh enormously. And Flow Rider as well.
Flow Rider as well, yes.
He wants to know how the Unicorn got a new t-shirt. He's been there for years and he hasn't had a new t-shirt. And then he threatens everybody in the building with a lemon party and then tells them all to get sick and die. And then he leaves.
Yes, get sick and die.
Dr. Cube is my favourite wrestler.
That's a heel.
It really is. He had a fantastic heel voice as well.
He did.
I love Dr. Cube. He was great.
The highlight of the show for me.
Yeah, most certainly. Although there was another big highlight coming next, as the sweaty Bill McGurk dude checked on the referee who had been attacked by the Dr. Cubes as he was lying face down on the mat. He lifted his arm up twice, it dropped both times. He lifted it up a third time, as it dropped, he just stopped and then wagged his finger at Bill McGurk as he continued to lie dead. I enjoyed that as well. It was a weird promo segment, or what I thought was a weird promo segment for Bear Burger. This went on for a while. This was very weird. It's delicious locally sourced food, apparently.
Yeah, and organic.
And organic. And that led to our second fight-o, which was Bear Burger with Bear Ranger versus Unibuzo.
Unibuzo, who is a sea urchin.
Yes, and Bear Burger is literally a dude in a half bear, half burger costume, like Man Bear Pig from South Park, which is all I could think about watching this match. Sea Urchin, according to the answers, is kind of a jerk. Which I thought was a bit mean. There was lots of lasers for Sea Urchin and quite a lot of booing, although there was no ref. And then that apparently was just a spot for another ref to come out. I don't know why they drew attention to that way, just didn't have a ref turn up. Didn't get that at all. There's a theme on this show. I feel like we're missing out on like 70% of what they're actually doing.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. Like, there's loads of stuff that I think if we'd been watching the other shows would make a lot of sense. Whereas to a layman, it was just like who the refs were around. It was very exciting who the refs were. This second one was Bryce something. Apparently that's the thing. They were excited about that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't get it.
There's a few more if you want to go back after this and watch some more.
There was a big lock-up. Sea Urchin gets the better of it. Then lots of carnage. People being thrown into buildings.
Some one-eyed crab walks down and it turns into a 2-on-2 at one point.
It wasn't a one-eyed crab, Mark. I'll have you know. It was Tucor, the Cyclopticus. He attacked the bear, and then the Park Ranger got into the ring.
Crab claws, and he didn't have like tentacles or anything.
I don't know. He did have one eye though, so you've got to give him that. Park Ranger got into the ring, and then they made it a tag team match. Player.
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails were playing in the background. I got very excited about that. Very excited. Chukor got blinded and he ended up attacking his own partner. Missed a splash from the ropes. And then the bear did a splash on the sea urchin and hurt his bum.
Two things that I really liked about this. One of them was Cycloptopus.
I think that's what they said. Chukor his name was.
Him. When he was punching one of the opponents, he was stamping his foot as he was doing it.
Was he really?
Yeah. Which I thought was great. And the other thing that I really liked was Bear Burger, the way he got in and out of the ring. Because his costume was so big he couldn't get through the ropes. He was jumping over the top rope and he had to jump in and out the ring. And you could tell he actually knew what he was doing. He was a proper wrestler. He didn't fall on his arse or anything or like bang his head.
See, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that at all.
Really, go back and watch it.
Maybe not. So Bear Burger is very talented then, obviously.
Absolutely.
The ring crew were wearing hard hats, putting up new buildings, which I enjoyed enormously. And then they cut to the sweaty dude in the crowd, and I think he was talking to Andrade Cien Almas.
Do you think so?
I think Andrade Cien Almas was in the front row. I'm convinced that's who it was. He spoke to him very briefly, and then we went back to the ring for the third fight. The announcers called on the chyron on the screen, the dude was called Silver Potato.
Yes.
And the announcers kept calling him Super Wrong.
Yes.
Again, I felt this is something that we're missing out on.
No, they just put the wrong name up because Silver Potato was on later.
Right, okay, cool.
I thought the same thing, but then Silver Potato was the silver dude. He was dancing around.
That would make a lot of sense. Super Wrong had a part of a machine with him, we were told, which would send the Dr. Cubes back to their own dimension. Yeah. But because Super Wrong apparently gets everything wrong, he forgot the instructions, couldn't assemble the machine, and then a shitload of Dr. Cubes came out.
What was Super Wrong?
I don't know. Some kind of living nightmare, I think.
His head looked like the Shockmaster helmet, but if it was made from felt.
Yeah.
And then he had like a blonde wig on top of that.
And red and yellow scarves and fringing and stuff.
Yeah.
I think he was just...
He looked a bit like a Pac-Man ghost. That's what.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I think he was just wacky. I think his character was just wacky dude. But yeah, Unicorn Party also came out, bringing the rest of the machine with him. They couldn't assemble it because they forgot the instructions. So Unicorn Party went to go and get the instructions, and at that point, a load of Dr. Cubes came out.
There was about 30 of them,
including 2 sexy Dr. Cubes.
2 sexy Dr. Cubes.
Which the announcers were very excited about. They jumped Super Wrong and destroyed the machine. The Cubes were then very pleased about this.
Lots of Dr. Cubes lost their boxes off their heads.
Yes, they certainly did. Then Dr. Cube cut a promo with his great evil voice and laugh again. Buried the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie, which I enjoyed because that film was fucking terrible. And apparently if the Cubes stay in our timeline, the universe is going to end.
Yeah.
So the announcers said. Then the Cubes all turned on one another. We had Andrew WK party hard in the background. And then some sexy Cubes turned up. There was some spanking. This was all just a bit too wacky for me.
Nothing to add.
It was weird. Unicorn Party came out, got the better of the last 2 Dr. Cubes, hit a crocodile-assisted moonsault onto 2 of the Cubes. He's then distracted by a sexy Cube. The other 2 attack and chase the unicorn off. And that is the intermission. And at that point, I completely gave up making any more notes because I couldn't make any more notes.
I think I made notes of who was in the matches.
Okay.
And I was hoping that you made notes on what was going on.
I think we've probably given people enough of a feel for what the hell Kaiju Battle is.
Yeah. Kaiju...
Exactly.
I think it's perfectly placed on a WrestleMania weekend where you have a week of great wrestling shows, one after another, and you might need a break and you might need to watch something different. And if that's the case, and you've got a couple and a half hours to spare, like I said, there was on about the timing for the show. It was the night of the Progress event, so the Progress had already been on. NXT was the following day, Mania 2 days after. So it was placed where you could probably watch. I don't know what was on with the Progress show. I know that the Progress, the WWN Live, maybe Ring of Honor as well. So maybe you'd seen a couple of really good shows. You're there to watch wrestling. You want to watch something a little bit different in your week. Fine.
It certainly was a bit different.
It was a bit different, and 100 people in the crowd obviously wanted to watch something a bit different as well.
Although they didn't really react to a lot of it.
No, and
it was badly mic'd though.
And when they asked who here has been to Kaiju before, no one had any clue what was going on. I think they was just in Florida for the weekend.
Turned up to see a show.
Yeah, maybe there was something on opposing it, but they couldn't get tickets to.
Yeah, that's
or maybe
quite possible.
They just thought, yeah.
it was badly mic'd. It was the first show
I couldn't get into a hotel, so we'll stop it. So.
Stay in Kaiju.
Yeah.
They couldn't get into... Yeah, it was their first show on WWN, so it was quite weirdly mic'd. Anyway, I did like the fact that the music was playing in the background all the time. That marked it out as a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd watch every week because I think my brain would melt.
But I thought you was going to watch a show a week so you could go back to the history and find out what there was missing.
Maybe I will later, but not just yet.
Okay.
So the final thing that we've got to talk about this week is the pay-per-view preview for WWE. Jesus. It's Extreme Rules coming up this week. We've just had the Go Home show on Monday night, which we've seen bits and bobs of. I've not seen the whole show.
Seen a little bit of Raw, yeah.
What are your feelings about this pay-per-view coming up? Because I am struggling to get even remotely excited about this show.
It's a one-match show. It's completely a one-match show. I don't.
Alexa Bliss and Bayley.
Kendo stick on a pole. You don't get pole matches that often these days.
No, you certainly don't. Not in WWF, WWE. I'm here again. I'm not even drinking. I wouldn't mind, but I've not had a drink.
Maybe you should. You're still thinking of Hunter's old theme.
I think I must be. We watched the "This Is Your Life" segment from Raw earlier with Bayley and Alexa Bliss. It is astonishing that they've made Bayley that much of a non-entity, and also that they've made Alexa that dull. That was such a terrible, terrible segment.
What I will say for that segment, it was an awful segment. It was on for like 11 or 12 minutes, and it felt like it was on for years.
Yep.
The scripting was terrible.
Yep.
Alexa did her best, and she was very good in it.
Yeah, she was. Alexa is fantastic. I've said before, I think she's the best all-round woman they have in the whole company. In the main roster, obviously, not including Asuka, obviously. And she did the best she could with what they gave her, but what they gave her was complete balls.
No, some of her off the cuff comments and her ad libs were very good, very funny. But as far as that segment, and it was terrible. Brought out one of Bayley's old teachers,
Mrs. Flaps or Flapper or something.
Let's call her Mrs. Flaps.
Mrs. Flaps. Bayley's former best friend when she was at school.
Bayley's former best friend and Bayley's ex-boyfriend. And her
first boyfriend? Or an ex-boyfriend?
It just said an ex.
I presumed first, but yeah.
I don't know. And the whole thing was, well, Bayley didn't ever go out. A friend didn't like her because she wouldn't go out with a roller skate, and she wanted to stop in and watch Raw and SmackDown.
Because wrestling fans are geeks, apparently, is the gimmick. I mean, obviously we are, but I'm not sure you're supposed to insult the fans in that way.
And the other joke was that she got on really well with her dad, and the dad used to go everywhere with her and that kind of thing. So
it really is quite something when you think of the Bayley character in NXT and how everybody got invested in that character, and then you look at the Bayley on the main roster. It's night and day. It is incredible the job that they've done on her. In a very negative sense.
In such a short space of time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know everybody wanted to see Bayley get called up and everybody wanted to see her go into the main roster and all the rest of it. But you look at some of the people that they've called up, Bayley, obviously, Tyler on SmackDown, Apollo Crews. They've just killed these dudes.
Yeah.
As soon as they call them up, they have no idea what to do with them.
I think Apollo's a different case. I don't think he hit his stride in NXT at all, and I think he was called up too soon. That was just a case of Vince saw him and thought, he looks awesome.
But what have they done with him? They've done
absolutely nothing. But I don't think his career's regressed, because I don't think he was at that level yet anyway.
No, not necessarily.
Tyler and Bayley, absolutely.
It's just, I don't know, it's just heartbreaking when you see these people that have obviously put in an awful lot of work to get to where they are, and they get called up and they don't even get their legs cut off from underneath them because they weren't given the chance to develop legs on the main roster.
Yeah. Although Bayley's probably going to be two-time champion this week. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, it's a go-home show. Alexa completely dominated her.
As she had for the whole feud.
Yeah, and Bailey's probably going to win the belt, which is just, I don't get it.
Well, it's going to be a case of Bailey either wins the belt or Alexa wins and moves on, but then moves on to.
It's, I don't get it. Like you say, Alexa did the best she could with what she was given. I don't know.
Yeah, but apart from the pay-per-view itself, there's been 5 matches confirmed so far, and apart from the main event, Bray, Finn, Roman, Joe, and Seth, I'm not really interested in seeing any of the others.
Who wins that match for you, for your money?
You can make a case for any of them, really. I think the least likely is Roman, just because I think they're going to try and keep him and Brock as apart as long as possible. I think it's probably going to be Seth.
Okay. I can see Bray, myself. Because he's just someone that Brock can throw around, and Vince thinks that Bray can lose and it doesn't hurt him.
Yeah, Bray's a good choice as well, and Bray was supposed to be having a feud with Brock a while ago, wasn't he? Before he had his bad back. So, yeah, that absolutely. Like I said, you can make a case for any of them. I hope it's not Joe, just because when Joe and Brock, if they do eventually have a match and have a feud, you want it to actually mean something and not just to be one match and then Brock's going to move on to Braun.
Yeah.
Because that's all that's going to happen with this.
Yeah, it's a placeholder, isn't it? It's exactly what happened with the Fashion Police on SmackDown. They're just there to placehold until
New Day's back.
Yeah, until New Day's back, which is probably going to be tonight as we record it. Yeah. Last week on SmackDown, just while touching on the Fashion Police and the majesty that is them, 2 singles matches where they beat the Uggos and then lost in a tag match. That's them done, isn't it?
Yes, without question.
Very sad. Some very sad children in the crowd as well. we were discussing this in the queue waiting to get into Lucha Forever, weren't we? Are the Fashion Police baby faces?
They are baby faces because they are feuding with the Usos who are heels. They have done absolutely nothing to their characters to change how they've been acting.
Which is what they did with AJ as well, wasn't it? When AJ turned in inverted commas. There's nothing wrong with that, though, is there necessarily? You wouldn't want, if a character gets over to the point that they kind of turn themselves by being popular, there's no point in completely reversing course and making them a new character.
Not at all, and that's what is often said, that if you're a babyface or a heel, you don't try not to change the character. It's how the people react to you, and I think that's what's happening.
But don't we at the same time slag them off though for doing turns that aren't turns, like they did with Seth and like they did with Alberto Del Rio? There was no catalyst for the turn. There was no consequence of the turn. Everyone was just like, oh well, now he's a babyface because he's acting like a babyface. It's a fine line.
That's the thing, they're acting completely different. Whereas a Fashion Police are not acting any different. It's just they have a different target.
Okay, that's fair enough.
That's what differentiates it for me anyway.
That's fair enough. We will be covering the pay-per-view in more detail next week. We'll do a pay-per-view review. We'll also be looking again at the finals of the Best of Super Juniors, and we're also going to be looking at PWG. Yeah,
got the latest PWG DVD this week, so we'll have a look at that and get a review in, and hopefully we'll be able to work out Smash Wrestling and
yes, hopefully
get that downloaded.
So it'll be a busy show next week when we'll be back, hopefully this time next week, probably Wednesday or Thursday. If you want to get in touch with us on both Twitter and Instagram, we're at both these guys. There's some pictures from the Lucha Forever show last week on there, a little video of Trent Seven's Hunter entrance, which was good fun. Yeah. So yeah, we will be back next week with another packed show. See you in a bit.
Bye.